the Cowboys lost to San Francisco, as we know. And I'm not on Twitter, but the guys will let me know if there's something I need to see on Twitter. And, so Seton sent this yesterday afternoon, and it read, Dak Prescott gave away the ball twice in the narrow loss to the 49ers in a matchup the Cowboys had a chance to win if they didn't again generate self-inflicted wounds. And I thought, okay, that could be Shea and Irving and, a Dallas fan. It could be a website, Fox Sports. It could be a variety of places. And then I go, wait, it says Dallas Cowboys. This is their Twitter. And I went, who approved that? I mean, you got somebody who is typing that up, and then I'm wondering, does Jerry Jones, does he have Twitter? Here's another one. Mike McCarthy took to the podium following the loss to the 49ers to give his take on a season that had the opportunity to be special, but instead ended up being anything but. This is the Cowboys Twitter site. Then, plays that might get forgotten include Tony Pollard's game-changing injury and a dropped interception by Trayvon Diggs. Wow. Okay.
What are you doing?
I love it. That's the honest, Cowboys website there. But I think instead of being like, these websites, it feels like, hey, tough loss, but we'll get them again next year. Right. Go team. This is, somebody's being honest here. This is full transparency here. Yeah, Paul?
Yeah, most of these social media sites like, tough loss for the boys this weekend, but we'll get them in 2023. And they're like, what? It was a colossal. So the article was written by Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com staff writer. The headline, who knows who wrote that? It could have been one of the social media people. But it's like, it's still up there. People saw it yesterday. It's 24 hours ago and said, wow, that's a really honest headline by the social media people of the Cowboys. But it eventually, quickly would have got up the food chain, and nobody took it down.
Well, that's what was surprising. If you send it out, at what point does it come back? And then you go, who put this up? I mean, that's not fair to Dak. Not to your own team's website. Can't do that to him.
The honest... A completely honest opinion is...
No, the reason why it shouldn't stay up is because it's completely honest. This is the Cowboys Twitter site.
Right.
If it was the Commanders who wrote something like this, or the Niners, okay, but this is the Cowboys. Yes, Eden.
Well, my main problem with it, aside from zero sense of loyalty whatsoever to the guy, is that he got up after the game and was like 100% on me, my bad. I need to play better. I need to do this, and took all of the heat for himself. And then some turd on Twitter that runs their account is like, yeah, that's right, Dak. Let me double down on it. Just from an organizational standpoint, we agree. This is all your fault. Does
anybody side with the Cowboys website here, Paulie?
Yeah, I think it was pretty objectively spot on of how the game played out. I don't think they pushed it. I think we're so conditioned to people covering up the truth and putting icing on the cake and not showing us the cake. And these social media sites are very good about not telling you what's going on with their actual team.
But who could watch that game and not come away with Dak gave the ball away twice in the narrow loss to the Niners, again, generates self-inflicted wounds? Okay, we saw it. They did it. But I don't need the Cowboys to remind the Cowboys players.
Right. But it's a fan feed. It's a feed for the fans. I guess it's reflectively or refreshingly objective. When you're used to a bunch of BS and cover.
Well, no, I appreciate that.
Yeah, but I can understand. I'm more surprised that some executive didn't chew out some kid and say, take that down.
Yes, Todd.
That's the beat writer or columnist's job, is to write something like that. And then it makes perfect sense. But if you work for some mattress company or whatever, and your sales was down, and then the mattress Twitter that calls you out personally, like, everyone else is selling mattresses except for Bob. I don't know what Bob's doing. Come on, Bob. We're probably going to have to fire you. Embarrassing.
Yeah. No quarterly bonuses this year because Bob didn't hit his proper metrics. Whatever the hell.
Bob's mattress, not objective.
I have a problem with this. Dak owned it. And then all of a sudden, just be a little more supportive in it.
It is interesting because the writer, the young man, I don't know, Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com, he may be consider himself just a pure journalist whose job is to cover it and not carry water for the team who keeps disappointing.
Wait, they have journalists on Twitter?
He works for the Cowboys.com staff.
It'll be fun when the Cowboys Twitter journalist starts breaking news on, this guy's suspended for various reasons or whatever.
But
because they're journalists now.
This was not by the PR staff. This was by, you would think, someone who's paid to cover the
But
team.
an employee of the Cowboys
Sure.
tweeted this.
Well, I guess it would be like Rich Eisen critiquing the NFL in a tweet, and he's employed by the NFL. They can jab their team here and there, or when it's obvious. It's almost worse if they don't.
Well, there are people who work for the NFL who don't critique the NFL.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're,
That's,
And I would disagree, too, that Twitter is 100% business PR. There's no other reason for it. When you're an organization like that,
Yeah.
it's purely PR.
yes. That's what was kind of shocking with this. I understand what they're doing. It gave me content on today's show, but it's wrong. It's wrong to do that to Dak Prescott. If Dak Prescott said, "Hey," if he pulled, what happened with the Jets, "Hey, this isn't on me." Zach Wilson and the Jets. Then imagine if the Twitter goes, "Hey, Zach Wilson, another dumb mistake, and then another dumb comment after the game." You can't do that. Even though you could feel it, or we can understand it, or we would agree with that, you can't do that to Dak Prescott. Yes, Tom.
And even if Dak didn't take responsibility and pulled the Zach Wilson, it's still not the job of the Dallas Cowboys Twitter feed to say, "Wow, Dak doesn't take any responsibility. He thinks he was fine."
I don't
not
think
taking any
that's what
blame."
they said. I think you're adding to what they said. The quote is, Dak Prescott gave the ball away twice in a narrow loss to the Niners, factually true. In a matchup the Cowboys had a chance to win if they didn't, again, generate self-inflicting wounds. That's as simple and down the middle as it gets. There's a picture of Dak Prescott, but it was his...
But what is the purpose of this?
I would say in this specific one, it's DallasCowboys.com's in-house writer writing a objective piece about how the season ended.
But we know how it ended.
Yeah.
What did they? I just don't know the purpose of it.
In case the purpose is, in case you're thinking about blaming Mike McCarthy, don't. It's Dak's fault.
Well, they have articles on McCarthy, too.
Don't blame him.
Yeah.
But that belongs in a blog, not in the Dallas Cowboys Twitter feed. I was shocked by that.
Does Jerry Jones know about this?
Definitely.
At what point does Jerry find out about this and go, what, leave it up? It's okay? The fact that it's still up there is what was surprising.
This is exactly why it's still up there.
Because we're talking about the Cowboys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, this is good for business? It's not good for Dak.
No.
It's not good for Mike McCarthy. Jerry's stuck with Dak Prescott.
Maybe when they make the 30 for 30, Dak will say, the tweet is really why I left.